All right, I wanted to work some problems from page 370. These were the problems on perpendicular lines that go after 8.4, okay? And so I thought I'd just pick a few to work. For instance, let's look at number 1, okay? Y equal 3/2 x plus 7. They want us to find the slope of the line perpendicular to the graph. Now, first of all, we need to realize that these are in slope-intercept form. And slope-intercept form is handy because it gives me the slope and it gives me a y-intercept. So with the equation they gave me, I know what its slope is. The slope of the original equation is 3/2. It's the number in front of the x. Don't get that backwards. If you think you're going to get it backwards, write out y equal mx plus b. And remember that m is always the slope. It represents the slope in all the equations that it's in. All right, now they want the perpendicular slope. Now to find a parallel slope, it would have been the same slope, right? We talked about that in class. But for a perpendicular slope, we have to do two things. We take the original slope and we do two things to it. One, we change the sign of the original slope. And then on number 2, we take the reciprocal of the original slope, which just means flip it, okay? Write it as a fraction and flip it. Okay, so here, if I want my perpendicular slope, I'll kind of fill it in red. My original slope was 3/2. If I change the sign on it, it would be negative 3/2. But then if I flip it, it would be negative 2/3. Again, does it matter with the negative, where the negative goes? No. It could go with the top. It could go with the bottom. You can write it out front, like right on the same level as the fraction bar, but it only goes with one part. That does not mean that you make both a negative. You don't put the negative both on the 2 and on the 3. You just put it with 1. But anyway, this is what we would do to find our perpendicular slope. So let's look down to a couple on the bottom. So in the bottom part, they want us to tell whether two slopes are perpendicular, parallel, or neither. All right, so I'm going to do some. We did number 13 in class, so I'm going to choose just to do some that we didn't do. Number 11. 3x plus y equals 7. And then we have y equal negative 3x plus 2. Okay, now this one's kind of nice because they've done some of the, when you have things in slope-intercept form, and this equation right here is in slope-intercept form, it is in y equal mx plus b form. The reason I know it is it has y by itself. That's how you get slope-intercept form. You get y by itself. So the slope of this bottom of equation is just what's the number in front of the x. You take the sign with it. It would be negative 3. Well, the other one is not quite so straightforward. 3x plus y is 7. When they give us things like this, and if you notice on number 13, the one we worked in class, we had to solve both of those equations for y. If y is not by itself, we have to get y by itself. And that way, we don't really know what the slope is till we get y by itself. So is y by itself? No. If you remember, a lazy math guy doesn't write a plus out here, but he could have. If I want to move that 3x to the other side to get y by itself, what's the opposite of a plus 3x? It would be a minus 3x. That would add up to 0. And remember, that's how I get rid of stuff, is I get it to add up to 0. So that would be 0 plus y, which is just y. And on the other side, I could write 7 minus 3x, but if I want to have it in y equal mx plus b form, it would be helpful to write the x term first. So I'm going to write it first. I don't just shove the 7 in there like that. I have to remember a lazy math guy doesn't write a plus on stuff if it's positive. And remember, the sign is something usually becomes like a plus sign. A positive 7 usually means I'm going to be adding it. A minus 3x would mean I'm actually subtracting it, even though we call it the negative sign. We play loose with those things in math a lot once we get to this stage. So what is the slope here? This is in y equal mx plus b form now. The slope is negative 3. If this slope is negative 3 and the other slope is negative 3, I notice that I have, they are the same slope. That means the lines are parallel. Okay, so the answer to this one would have been parallel. All right, I'll go ahead. I want to go ahead and rework 13 just because in the answers here I only assigned you odds and there's only one that has a perpendicular one, and it was number 13. And in case you're absent or following along from home, this would be a good one to look at just because you would do 15 similarly. You're going to solve it for y. What you're going to notice on 15 is you're going to have the same slope. We already had one that was parallel. I want to do a perpendicular one. So let's look at number 13. Neither one of these equations, on either one of these, it's not easy to tell the slope. I've got to solve for y first. I can't tell the slope when I've got both the x and the y on the same side. I've got to get y by itself to easily tell the slope. So let me take each one. I'll start with 2x minus 8y equal 9. I'll just stick it up here. All right, if I want to get y by itself, I need to get the 2x. I need to get rid of it. Remember, it's a plus 2x. I can move it to the other side by subtracting 2x, and the reason it goes away on the left side is it adds up to 0. We just usually cross it out, but I could put 0 minus 8y. 0 minus 8y becomes negative 8y. I'm going to write the x term first. That's a negative 2x, and it's a positive 9, so I write it down as a plus 9. That positive sign becomes my adding sign there, because I am adding things together on the right-hand side when I write them over there. Now, y is not by itself. If I want to get y by itself, what I need is to divide everything by negative 8. So the next step is going to be to divide everything by negative 8. Can't get it to right there. Okay. Now, that becomes 1y. I want to reduce the fraction in front of the x, because actually all I really care about here is the slope. I'm looking to see if these lines are parallel or perpendicular or neither. So I don't really care. On the end, yeah, I'm going to have a minus 9/8 on the end, but what I really care about is what's the number in front of my x here, because that's my slope. Well, a negative over a negative makes a positive, and 2 goes into 2 one time, and 2 goes into 8 4 times, so I end up with 1 over 4x. My slope here is the number in front of my x. It is a positive 1/4. All right, well, that took care of this one. Let's take care of the second one, because we don't know what its slope is until we, solve it too. So let's look at it. 12x plus 3y is 7. I want to get y by itself. So again, this is a plus 12x. If I want to get it to add up to 0 so it disappears from that side, I subtract 12x, but if I do it to one side, I gotta do it to the other side. 12x minus 12x is 0, and 0 plus 3y is 3y. We just usually write that down. And then I have 7 minus 12x, but remember, if I want it in y equal mx plus b form, it helps me to write the x term first. That's just good practice. We're going to do it. That's a positive 7, and so if I add them together, I have negative 12x and then add 7 to it. All right, y is not by itself. I want y by itself because I want to put it in this y equal mx plus b slope-intercept form. So what I'm going to do is divide the 3 out. 3 divided by 3 would give me 1y, and that would get the y by itself. But if I divide that by 3, I got to divide everybody by 3. It's really, I'm doing it to both sides. I'm dividing both sides by 3, but when you go divide both sides by 3, you got to divide everybody by 3. Now, negative 12 divided by 3, you could, if you have trouble with that, that's negative 4, but you could have said 3 goes into 3 one time, 3 goes into 12 4 times, and that's a negative 4 in front of that x. And then I really don't care about the 7/3. It's not anything to do with what they're asking me here. They wanted to know if the slopes were perpendicular. Let me write y equal mx plus b. You got to remember, m is the thing that represents the slope. It's always in front of the x, so I can look in front of the x to find my slope. My slope here is minus 4. All right, let's look at these two slopes. I'll underline them in red. Here's one, and here's one. Let's take the 1/4, okay? If I were to take the 1/4, and I were to change the sign on it, and then I were to flip it, I'd get negative 4 over 1. Is that what I have over here? Yes, it is. Oh, that means these slopes are opposite in sign. They are reciprocals of each other. That means these two slopes are perpendicular slopes. That's what they asked me, and that's what I care about doing. Here, that's it.